All right, let's talk. Have you ever caught yourself thinking, well, I'm over 60 now. Guess it's time to perfect my knitting, master the art of the daytime nap, and maybe complain about the price of coffee? We hear it all the time, don't we? Society sometimes paints this picture of winding down, of fading gently into the background. But what if I told you that this chapter, this vibrant, experienced, wise chapter of your life, could actually be your most interesting one yet? What if motivation wasn't just for the youngsters chasing deadlines, but something brilliant and beautiful that we get to redefine right now? Stick with me for a bit because we're going to explore just that. Forget the rocking chair myth for a while. Unless you genuinely love rocking chairs, then absolutely rock on. My name is Your Name Persona, and nope, I don't have a magic wand or some secret caffeinated potion brewed from the fountain of youth. What I do have is a belief, a strong one, that the desire to do, to learn, to connect, to simply get up and go doesn't magically evaporate when the calendar ticks past 60, 70, or even 80. Sometimes it just needs a little nudge, a friendly reminder. Maybe even a bit of a jump start, like trying to get an old, beloved car running on a chilly morning. Winks. So what is this thing called motivation, when you've already lived a whole lot of life? It's not necessarily about climbing corporate ladders or running marathons anymore, though hey, if that's your jam, fantastic. For many of us, it's simpler. It's about finding that little spark that makes you want to get out of bed with a sense of purpose, even if that purpose is just trying a new recipe, calling a friend, or finally tackling that wobbly shelf in the garage. It's easy to lose that spark sometimes, isn't it? Maybe retirement felt less like freedom and more like adrift. Maybe the aches and pains are a bit louder than they used to be. Maybe you feel like you've done your bit. And now, what? These feelings are real, they're valid, and honestly, they're pretty common. Acknowledging them is the first step. It's okay to have days where the duvet feels like the most appealing companion. We all do, but staying stuck there? That's what we want to gently steer away from. Because inactivity, both mental and physical, can be a bit like rust. It creeps in slowly, making things stiff and creaky. Motivation, on the other hand, is like the oil can. It keeps things moving, lubricated, and working smoothly. It's linked to our mood, our health, even how well we sleep. It's about feeling engaged with the world around us. Think about it. Remember the last time you felt genuinely pleased with yourself? Maybe you learned how to use that newfangled smartphone feature your grandkids were talking about. Maybe you finally finished that crossword puzzle that had been mocking you from the coffee table. Maybe you planted some tomatoes and saw the first little green shoots peek through. That little buzz, that feeling of accomplishment, that's motivation paying off. It doesn't have to be monumental. So how do we find it when the tank feels empty? Let's forget grand, sweeping gestures for a moment. Think small, ridiculously small even. What is one tiny thing you could do today that you weren't planning on? Maybe it's deciding to walk to the mailbox instead of just opening the front door. Maybe it's putting on some music you used to love and just listening. Maybe even tapping your foot. Maybe it's picking up a book you started months ago and reading just one chapter. Maybe it's tidying up just one drawer. You know, the one where random bits and bobs go to retire. The trick is, start. Action often comes before motivation catches up. You don't always have to feel like doing something to actually do it. Sometimes, you just have to decide. Okay, body, we're doing this. And often, once you start, a funny thing happens. You start to feel a little bit better, a little more capable, and that feeling? It fuels the next small step. It's like pushing a snowball. That first push takes the most effort, getting it rolling. But once it's moving, it starts to gather its own momentum. Another key? Rediscover your why. What gives you a sense of purpose? It doesn't have to be saving the world. Maybe it's connection. spending quality time with family or friends, calling someone who might be lonely, joining a local club, book club, gardening club, walking group, even just a coffee morning. Humans are social creatures. We need that connection. Learning. Curiosity didn't retire when you did. What have you always wanted to know more about? History? A new language? Even just a few phrases? How to identify birds in your garden? The internet is a treasure trove. Libraries are magical places, and local colleges often have courses for seniors. Keep that brain buzzing. Creating. Remember hobbies you used to love. Painting, writing, crafting, baking, woodworking, playing an instrument. Maybe it's time to dust them off. Or try something new. It's not about being perfect, it's about the process, the joy of making something. My neighbor, bless him, took up pottery at 75. His first few creations looked suspiciously like ashtrays made by a grumpy badger, but the joy on his face? Priceless. Now his stuff is actually quite good. Helping, sharing your wisdom and experience. Feels fantastic. Can you mentor someone? Volunteer an hour a week? Help a neighbor with their shopping? Knowing you've made a small difference in someone else's day is powerful fuel. And let's talk about routine. Now, I know, routine can sound boring, but a gentle structure can be incredibly helpful, especially if your days feel a bit shapeless after retirement. It doesn't have to be rigid. Maybe it's just having a regular time for a morning walk, a set afternoon for reading or hobbies, or a specific day you call your family. It provides anchor points in your day and week, making it easier to build other activities around them. It stops the days from just blurring together. Now, here's a really important part. Be kind to yourself. Seriously, some days will be better than others. Some days the motivation just won't show up for work, no matter how nicely you ask. And that is perfectly okay. This isn't about forcing yourself into constant activity or feeling guilty if you have a quiet day. It's about gentle encouragement, not relentless pressure. Think of it like tending a garden. You wouldn't yell at your roses for not blooming in January, would you? You nurture them, give them what they need, and appreciate them when they blossom. Do the same for yourself. Celebrate the small wins. Did you go for that walk even though it was drizzling? Fantastic. Did you call that friend? Brilliant. Acknowledge the effort. Give yourself a little mental pat on the back and ditch the comparison game. Your journey is yours alone. Your neighbor might be running 5Ks while your biggest win today was getting the recycling out. Both are valid. Both are achievements relative to your day, your energy levels, your circumstances. What matters is your progress, your sense of engagement. Remember all that wisdom you've gathered over the decades? Use it. You know yourself better now than ever before. You know what truly brings you joy, and what really doesn't. You know how to persevere. You've overcome challenges before, plenty of them. This is just another one, and you absolutely have the tools within you to navigate it. Think about your younger self for a moment. What did they dream of doing one day when they had more time? Maybe one day is now. Perhaps not exactly as you imagined it, but the essence might still be there. Wanted to travel? Maybe a big trip isn't feasible, but exploring your local area, visiting nearby towns, or even taking a virtual tour online can spark that sense of adventure. So let's recap the simple stuff. Start small. Don't overwhelm yourself. One tiny action is enough to begin. Find your why. Connect with purpose. Learning, creating, helping, connecting. Gentle routine. Create soft anchor points for your days. Action first. Sometimes you need to do before you feel. Be kind. Celebrate. Small wins and accept the slower days. No guilt allowed. Use your wisdom. You've got this. You really do. This chapter of life isn't an epilogue. It's a whole new volume waiting to be written, and you are the author. You get to decide what goes on the pages. It doesn't have to be a bestseller. It just has to be a story you enjoy living. So, my challenge to you today, right now, is this. What's one tiny spark you can ignite? Just one little thing. Maybe it's stepping outside for 5 minutes of fresh air. Maybe it's putting on one song that makes you happy. Maybe it's deciding what small, enjoyable thing you'll do tomorrow morning. Find that spark. Nurture it gently. And see where it takes you. You might just surprise yourself. Thanks for spending this time with me. Go on. Go find that spark. You've absolutely earned it.